The Pocket Community Demonstration Project by the Tiny Town Association, a 21st century affordable housing initiative. The Tiny Town Association. As a serial entrepreneur, I've been conceiving, starting, and building businesses since 1983. Tiny homes came onto my radar in the fall of 2015, and with experience in construction and manufacturing, I felt there was a business opportunity in building quality tiny homes at affordable prices. While working on my own floor plan, I noticed that even though more pictures were being posted of new tiny home builds, finding somewhere to live remained the dominant conversation on social feeds. I realized that it was lack of places to legally live that was keeping tiny homes from becoming a viable housing option. Building a tiny home park became a new focus, and creating a modular park design was the next big challenge. A key feature of tiny homes is that you can take your home with you when you move, so I began looking for ways to build multiple park locations. Traditional business ownership would ultimately result in the park changing hands, triggering higher rental fees, impacting affordability. I was determined to find a way to keep tiny homes affordable. I formed the Tiny Town Association, a not-for-profit Canadian corporation with a renewed sense of direction in September 2017. The Tiny Living Resource followed in the fall of 2018 and marked the beginning of our advocacy for tiny homes as affordable housing. The Tiny Town concept began as a way for a group of tiny homeowners to live together on a single property, sharing resources. The book Pocket Neighborhoods by architect Ross Chapin brought the concept of community to the plan, resulting in the pocket community design of today. The growing gap between earnings and affordability. While interest rates stay low and wages remain flat, rising housing prices are widening the gap between cost and affordability. In 1976, when the boomer generation began buying homes, it took just 5 years to save enough for a down payment. Today, it takes the average person 15 years to save enough. So the solution is either wages need to rise or home prices need to fall, or we consider that tiny homes can act as a tool to bridge the gap. Tiny demographics. Our research into homeowner demographics showed that tiny homes won't work for everyone, but they can work for singles, couples, young first-time homeowners, middle-aged minimalists, empty nest retirees, seniors, single-parent families, and people living with disabilities. Tiny homes can free up space for larger family groups, reducing the strain on other types of affordable housing when singles, couples, and single-parent families that are overhoused move into tiny homes. Tiny demand. To determine tiny home demand, we prepared a presentation for the Canadian Institute of Planners World Town Planning Day Conference in the fall of 2018 and found that the potential tiny home market is 6.72% of the population. At the time, this was over 2.3 million Canadians. Today, based on current population estimates, this has increased to over 2.5 million people. If wages remain flat while housing prices stay strong, we expect this demand will be surpassed within the next 5 years. A scalable solution. Tiny homes provide the fastest and most scalable solution to address the shortage of affordable housing. Tiny homes can be built in factories using standardized designs. By building tiny homes in factories, costs can be controlled, resulting in lower prices for the homeowner. Factory-built homes allow year-round construction in controlled environments where quality and code compliance can be monitored. Flooring, wall coverings, light fixtures, counters, sinks, faucets, cabinets, siding, and roofing all allow tiny homeowners to add their own design flair to their tiny home. Tiny home production can be scaled to meet demand, as production can be increased without the delays of permits, zoning, and approvals. Centralized production can address tiny home demand in various parts of the country, as the finished home can be shipped to or picked up by the customer. Tiny homes, when built with off-grid options, can provide housing to remote locations. Home ownership. To create housing that can remain affordable, we have separated the home ownership from land ownership. Tiny home ownership. When the home is owned, people develop a sense of pride in ownership, working to maintain and even improve their home. As the home is owned, the onus to maintain the home is the responsibility of the homeowner. This addresses the maintenance issues that other affordable housing options face over time. Tiny homes move with the owner, whether to a different site within a town or a town in a different city. With just $3,000 down, a single person or couple would have total home expenses around $600 per month for their new production tiny home. Where new homeowners have saved enough to pay their $25,000 cooperative fees before they purchase their new home, total home expenses would drop to around $450 per month. Cooperative land ownership. Cooperative land ownership means the property and common area cost is shared by the cooperative, not just a single homeowner. Once owned by the cooperative, the land is never sold, so rents are not increased to reflect higher acquisition costs. Member site rental fees include utilities, taxes, and maintenance of the common areas, would be just $250 per month versus $500 for non-members. Cooperative members would recover their membership fee in 8 years of lower rent payments. All tiny home sites are rented on a month-to-month basis. While non-members can rent available sites, occupation of the site is only guaranteed for the current month. Members have priority on site selection and retention over non-members. When a member leaves the co-op, their cooperative membership fee is returned to them, so the co-op can offer membership to someone new. The demonstration project. To introduce this new affordable housing model, we are planning to build a demonstration project community on a future tiny town site. The project budget is $2.5 million plus soft costs, including permits, rezoning, and any studies required. We are seeking a combined investment from private and corporate investors, the city, province or territory, and federal governments for the project. We will purchase 100 acres, then once approved, construct the common areas and tiny home sites on a 1-acre demonstration site. We will have 12 affordable tiny homes built, 5 will remain model homes, and 7 will be occupied. We will study the efficiencies of the 4 different building systems, including modular, wood-framed, steel-framed, and structurally insulated panels, or SIPs. One home will be built fully accessible as a tiny model home, as an upgrade to our standard seniors-friendly design. One home will be enrolled in our ARTO program, and working with a local social housing agency, help one participant transition from socially assisted housing to tiny home ownership through community service hours. Multiple university research departments plan to study the social effect of tiny home pocket community living, the cost to live in a tiny home, as well as the tiny home's environmental impact. We want to develop the first hard data to support tiny home living as an affordable housing option. The Tiny Town Association will manage the project, as we are eager to learn how we can improve the pocket community model so that we can replicate it in other cities. The property will allow us to expand the number of sites available once the appropriate zoning has been approved using our modular community design. As the first project of its kind, we will launch the host city into the spotlight of housing innovation in Canada and the world as we invite, coordinate visits, and provide tours of city delegations. The tiny home site. The tiny home site is the basic building block of the community. A road section connects the site to the community, allowing a tiny home to be brought in when a new member joins. There is a pad and piers to mount the tiny home to while being lived in at the location. Once attached, with the wheel carriage removed, the tiny home is building code compliant. Each site has mobile home type connections to community services, including hydro, water, sewer, cable, and internet. There is lawn and garden space specific for each homeowner. A permanent deck with stairs and a ramp provides access to the home and additional living space during the summer months. Graduated gardens provide layers of privacy, and the back of the neighboring tiny home is designed without windows, so each site becomes a private oasis for the homeowner. A low picket fence completes the delineation between the common area and home site without inhibiting conversations. A sidewalk section connects each home to the community. The pocket community. This planned community brings 12 tiny homes together in a way that encourages social interaction and shares resources, creating an eco-responsible lifestyle. The shared green space is available for community use. The community center is the social and utility hub of the neighborhood. A parking space for each tiny home site is provided, along with space for guests. We plan to build community garages as the budget permits. Additional parking spots can be added to meet local zoning requirements. EV charging stations will be built as required by code and expanded should demand grow. Garage top solar panels will add to the combined solar production of the community. A sidewalk from the parking area leads citizens past the community center and neighboring homes, providing an opportunity to catch up on daily events on the stroll home. The sites, sidewalks, and roads use an eco-friendly permeable substrate that will allow citizens to park beside their homes for easier access during the winter once the ground is frozen. Space for additional parking, shared vegetable gardens, market stalls, or other uses is part of each community. The community center. The community center is the focus of the neighborhood as an extension of each citizen's home. It includes space for monthly potlucks and shared meals, as well as other social activities as determined by the community. Our studies determined that each tiny home would require 6 solar panels for their electrical needs. The community center roof holds 8 panels per tiny home. Batteries below the center store extra production and connect to the town-wide smart utility grid. Where connections to municipal services are not available, a centralized anaerobic digester will process organic and sewage waste, producing renewable natural gas for the town in return. Partner with us. There will only be one First Pocket Community demonstration project, and it can become the first tiny town. City delegations from other cities will be coming to tour the demonstration site, and the host city will be recognized for its forward thinking by participating in this affordable housing initiative. It will attract the future traditional house buying citizens by increasing the affordable housing options available today. It will provide a next step to the aging population of the city with an affordable housing option in a socially supportive community setting. The ARTO program can be implemented to transition people from socially assisted housing to home ownership, reducing the burden of social housing on public funding over time. It will keep the average wage earners in the city, the people that restock the shelves in the stores, pour the coffee in your cup, and wrap the burger in your bag, the ones that are having a hard time affording a place to live. Thank you for your interest in the Tiny Town Association, and we hope that you will consider partnering with us to build a pocket community demonstration site and become a part of this 21st century affordable housing initiative.